Alrighty then. It is Saturday the 26th, around 7:10 in the morning. I will be going on a camping trip at some point, and a lot of times here in Arizona, if you during certain times they don't allow you to have campfires or even charcoal fires. So if you go camping and you want to have anything grilled, you have to bring your own grill. What we usually do is we buy a really cheap grill, and because it only gets used for a few days and then, you know, sits someplace, sometimes until it rusts away. Depends on how long I get between camping. So this year I bought the cheapest one I could find at Sportsman's Warehouse, which is a Char Broil gas grill 190, and I'm just going to put it together and maybe test it, and that's about it. So and for some reason they have this thing completely and totally taped up. I don't know if that's just to keep people from thieving parts or something out of it at the store. There's not much to these. Most of the time I put them together at the campsite. It was only after we arrived that they closed, or they stopped allowing us to have an open fire of any kind. So what we got is the bottom piece, the top piece, burner. This is probably will go above the burner, or maybe go below it. Actually, it looks like it'll go below it. Handles, drip pan, and instructions, and a ceramic coated grill. Ceramic coatings I don't think last as long because they're too easy to damage, but like I said, this thing was about $30-something, and I'm not too worried about it. It's so cheap that if it breaks or falls apart, so set this grill somewhere out of the way, and we won't need the lid right now. And instructions in Spanish. Garbage. Actually, that was French, so garbage. Spanish, garbage. And English. Spider alert. That's a new one. If you notice your grill is getting hard to light or the flame isn't as strong as it should be, take the time and check and clean the burner. In some areas of the country, spiders or small insects have been known to create flashback problems. That's nice. I'm going to assume this is supposed to go like this. The instructions are not clear, which is one reason why I don't normally even use instructions, because they're almost useless. Ooh, that was difficult. Where did they go? Oh, there they are. Legs. That is the next step according to the instructions. The legs go in this direction because this folds up and holds the lid on when storing or traveling. About the only reason I'm using the instructions is because that way I use the correct screws. And so this is a little complicated. requires putting the handles on, and also putting in the drip pan. So let's see, I need the 10 24-inch by 3/4 screws, the fiber washers, and 1024 hex nuts. This we're going to need some sockets to assist. Interesting. So you want to put the fiber washers between the handle and this. I believe they're there to help keep the handle from melting, although I think the handle is made of Bakelite, so it really will never melt. It might burn though. Oh, okay. So the nuts require a 5/16 socket. And I thought that the drip pan, based on the way the instructions look, I thought the drip pan had to was secured by the nuts, but it's not. That's right. Clutch on this doesn't work. Alright, and so then this just sits here on these nuts. One of the things I found that is helpful when you use one of these really cheap ones to keep them lasting longer, and so they don't burst into flames. If you cook really greasy hamburgers, high fat content hamburgers on them, the bottom will fill up with grease. So what I normally do is put a lining of aluminum foil in here, keeping clear of the burners, and that catches a lot of the grease. Then when you're done, you just take that out and throw it away, and you have less cleanup. So let's see here. We're going to do one step out of sequence because it doesn't really matter. We're going to put the control in. You put it in upside down and rotate it to lock it in place. Oh, one thing I noticed is this one doesn't have an igniter. I think the last one I had an igniter, just a push button piezoelectric igniter. Alright, so that part is done. And that only leaves this part. That's interesting. It looks like there's some parts missing. Oh, no, there they are. So the handle is held on with 1/4 ton 20 screws, and the side hinged dealy bobs are held on with 1032 short screws. So the hinges that they call for are inside this packet of extra parts. Alright. Okay, so you put a flat washer, a fiber washer, and that goes to the handle. Second flat washer, second fiber washer to the handle. and you don't do what I just did, which is break the handle. That does, just what I thought, it's made of Bakelite. Alright, we're just going to skip that and put the hinges on. Let's see. Doesn't really matter which direction they go, as long as they're both in the same direction. And that's pretty much it. I mean, except for the broken handle. So the way this works is you open this up and then rest these little pieces here on the back side. As for this handle, well, I may have my last one of these, or one like it, and the handle, I might be able to use the one off of that on this. Otherwise, I'll just probably make something real simple. So there you go. Oh, and then the legs. So there you go, it's all set for travel. And that's all there is to that. See you later. I'm back again. What I'm going to do is just make a handle real quick out of wood. That should work just fine for what I'm going to be doing. Off-camera noises are always interesting. This is a Dremel jigsaw, or reciprocating saw, whatever you want to call it, that I picked up at a flea market for, oh my gosh, can't remember, it was like maybe $15. Stand by. So yeah, it was like maybe $15, and it works really nice. I was able to find blades for it still. It has a disc sander on the side, but the disc sander requires special discs that are very difficult to find. You can use any other disc, but it doesn't really work as good. Although the disc sander on it isn't exactly the best anyways. Brand new blade. coarse wood blade, and it just kept getting stuck. The holes are 4 1/16 apart. Alright, since I want to use the original hardware as much as possible, I'm gonna drill relief holes so I don't split the wood when I put the screw in. Good enough for me. Later.